In 2018, a southern resident orca, Tahlequah, gave birth to a calf who died almost immediately. Just like us, orcas grieve when they lose loved ones, but this mother did something unprecedented. She carried her baby's carcass with her for 17 days, covering over 1,000 miles. We can only speculate, but this journey was likely over 400 hours of pure grief, loss, desperation, and perhaps anger. Her story symbolizes the southern resident orca's struggle to survive over these past few decades, and the depth of their experience in relation to our own. The Salish Sea's southern resident orca population is struggling under a triple threat of toxic pollution, marine vessel traffic, and scarcity of food. This last issue is perhaps the most pressing. Chinook salmon make up 80% of the orca's diet. The decimation of salmon populations has hit southern residents hard. The issue of salmon scarcity has a straightforward solution: breach the 4 lower Snake River dams. In the 1960s and the 70s, the Army Corps of Engineers violated indigenous treaties by building 4 dams on the lower Snake River for barging and generating small amounts of electricity. They did this despite the concerns of Western scientists and indigenous peoples alike. Since the construction of the lower Snake River dams began, Snake River wild salmon populations have declined by 60%. Hundreds of federal, state, tribal, and independent scientists are saying that removing the 4 lower Snake River dams is the best way to restore Chinook salmon and to protect them from extinction.
Right here.
A treaty between the native peoples of the Pacific Northwest and the United States was signed in 1855, with the tribes ceding most of their land in exchange for reservations. They retained property, hunting, and fishing rights. The United States end of the deal was simply to not fuck with Chinook salmon, beings who are highly sacred to these tribes. The U.S. was obligated to not do anything that would cause the decline of Chinook salmon or prevent the tribal nations from fishing. Naturally, the lower Snake River dams were built by the U.S. Army Corps in direct opposition to the tribes whose ancestral fishing grounds are on the river. So not only are the southern residents starving to death from lack of Chinook, but native tribes of the Pacific Northwest have suffered economically, socially, and emotionally from the same lack. Speak to your elected politicians, representatives, and federal agency officials and ask them to support breaching the lower Snake River dams. And follow and support organizations that have been on top of this issue from the start. Go to whaleresearch.com/action for a contact list with action items.